Hello everyone, my name is Shamika, aka Paging Allyne, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, how are you? And to all my subscribers, thank you and lovely to see you again. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with a Naturopathic Medical Student, the space where we answer questions that sometimes we don't know how to ask, while also getting real about the naturopathic medical student experience. Now, I am a former allopathic medical student navigating the world of naturopathic medical school. And the one thing that I have noticed is that a lot of the resources I used in basic sciences and pathology in my allopathic medical school can also be used in naturopathic medical school. When you look at the basic sciences for a naturopathic medical student and compare it to an allopathic medical student, we are practically studying the same thing. We are both doing anatomy, biochemistry, immunology, pathology, so therefore the resources can be shared. This episode is all about biochemistry resources, so if you have not seen the last videos on physiology and anatomy resources, I encourage you to check them out. There should be a little card that pops up, maybe over here or over here. I don't know, but there should be a card that pops up here so that you can get caught up. Now, all of these episodes build on themselves, so be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that you can get notified when new videos are uploaded. So without further ado, let's get started. Now I'm in the business of keeping it real. So, from my perspective, there is a huge amount of information that we are going to need to learn. And in turn, we're going to need to find simple ways to digest it and be able to easily recall it. So using additional resources allows for you to do just that, in addition to tutoring and study groups. Now, within your first 3 quarters of your first year of naturopathic medical school, you will have what I consider the heavy hitters, the anatomy, the physiology, and biochemistry, with the advent of genetics replacing biochemistry in quarter 3. Therefore, these are the classes where I feel that the resources will be most helpful, at least during your first year. And bear in mind, you can use these resources from the first year and beyond. For biochemistry, the resources I found most helpful were board review series, AK lectures, Armando Hasudungan, and the USMLE First Aid book. I'm a visual learner, so watching a 10-minute or less lecture that is clear and succinct is perfect for me. In naturopathic medical school, there's a lot of work and not enough time. So I try to find lectures that are informative, quick, and concise. So let's talk about each one. BRS Biochemistry, or for technical purposes, board review series, biochemistry, molecular biology, and genetics. But I just call it BRS Biochemistry. We're going to shorthand things. I'm not even going to go into detail with this book. Bottom line, get this book in physical copy, read it, review it, and do the questions at the end of the chapter. Use it for biochemistry and genetics. You will thank me later. And this is a you welcome in advance. AK Lectures. This is a YouTube channel and a website designed to teach you straightforward and easy to understand biochemistry. After you watch a video, you feel like you actually learned something versus when you're in a lecture and you're confused half the time. The instructor does an amazing job in focusing your attention on the important concepts while drawing out what you need to know in less than 10 minutes. These videos were instrumental in helping me understand a lot of the processes within biochemistry, such as the urea cycle, fatty acid synthesis, and even glucose metabolism. The best way to use this site is that when you get to a concept in your biochemistry class, you're going to search through AK lectures to see if there's a relevant video that is going to touch on the topic that you're learning. Then use what is presented in that video as a basis for your notes and integrate it with your lecture notes. Armando Hasudungan is an amazing, fantabulous individual with a YouTube channel and a website where he presents biology, psychology, and biochemistry topics in less than 5 minutes. I know, you're welcome. He draws the big picture as he is explaining it to you, which makes it easy for you to follow along. I used his videos for biochemistry and physiology, but you may find that he can be useful in other areas. USMLE First Aid, or First Aid for the USMLE Step 1 is the official name. However, you will hear titles such as the USMLE book or the First Aid book. I'm here to tell you it's all the same thing, so don't get carried away at the moment. This is essentially a manual that houses mnemonics, figures, tables to help focus your study on high-yield concepts. There's also a plethora of photos and illustrations designed to help you visualize processes, disorders, and clinical findings. When I was in allopathic medical school, this was considered our Bible. It was what we referenced anytime we came across a new disease or topic in biochemistry or anatomy or even physiology. The same applies for naturopathic medical school. During your first 2 years, you're going to be focused on learning the basic sciences as well as pathology. And this book provides you with easy ways to connect the dots. I will be sure to make a separate video on how to utilize this book while you're in naturopathic medical school. Now, when it comes to biochemistry, this book has a beautiful, wonderful, amazingly awesome I know, I added a lot of adjectives there because I wanted to show you emphasis. They have a biochemistry section that will help you understand how all of these biochemical processes work together and focusing your attention on the most important or rate-limiting enzymes within these chemical processes. Also, when you get to genetics, that same biochemistry section will be a great service to you when you start learning about genetic inheritance and relative disorders. So let's recap, and I will be sure to put the links to all of these sites in the description box below. The best resources for biochemistry, in my opinion, are BRS Biochemistry, AK Lectures, Armando Hasudungan, and the USMLE First Aid book. Now, as I've been upfront with you throughout this whole resource series, is that you're going to find that in medical school, there are a bunch of them that you can use, but some are better than others, and you have to be the judge on what works best for you. It is not uncommon for you to have several resources from different places because sometimes one program may be better at explaining something over another. Also, you have to keep in mind of your learning style. So you want to pick the resources that cater toward your preferred learning style. Now that could be a review book or even watching a video. You have to be the judge. Now I want to give a disclaimer. These are not the only resources out there. However, these are the ones that I have found useful over the course of my first year, and the ones that I can actually give an honest and personal feedback onto how they were beneficial for me, and hopefully they can be beneficial for you. So here's how I would use these resources. First and foremost, you need to figure out which resource you're most comfortable with, whether that's a review book or watching a video. Then when you're in your classes, you're going to scour your resources to see if it has information relative to your specific topic. From there, you're going to incorporate that information when you're writing your notes. See you in the next episode. Adios.